City Council meeting in council chambers. This is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. At this time, I would like to ask Pastor Don Suriano with the Kingdom Life Christian Church, as well as chaplain for the Bradenton Police Department, to come forward with our invocation. That will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Josh Kramer.
Good morning, everyone. Just a quick comment before we pray. This is one of my favorite days to do the invocation. The affections of my heart burn for our local and national police officers. To my beloved police family here in Bradenton and all who wear the gallant shield of service and protection, from our chief to our senior command staff, seasoned veterans, to young officers filled with promise, and to every support department member, you are loved, you are needed, you are honored, and we celebrate you today. We thank the Heavenly Father for each one of you. You are heroes. You are divine agents of the Almighty to aid and sustain order on the earth. Would you bow your heads? Father of heaven and earth, I lift up our valiant law enforcement officers before you now. I ask that you and all of heaven would take notice and honor this prayer for these who have vowed and dedicated their lives to serve and protect your children on the earth who you so dearly love and cherish. I pray that your mighty hand and outstretched arm would go before them in the battle of justice, anointing them as your ambassadors of divine order, so to foil the deeds of those who plot evil. I ask of you, Holy Spirit, to envelop each of them with the peace of Christ that transcends understanding, guiding them with the wisdom of Solomon as they guard the citizens of our nation. Grant them the courage and the strength of King David to defeat the Goliaths of wrongdoing and impart upon them the loving kindness of David the shepherd to serve with compassion and a gentle hand. Discerning when to be a lion and when to be a lamb, may they serve with the heart of a king and lead with the heart of a servant. As they continue to be deployed on their noble assignments, I declare Isaiah 54:17 over them all, that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment shall be condemned. For this is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, says the Lord. I pray, O God, that you would dispatch and assign warring angels of great might and power to protect them and keep them from harm. So I declare over them all long, strong, blessed, prosperous, and fruitful life. I pray that you would grant an overwhelming peace to their loved ones, reminding every father, wife, husband, son, and daughter that you, the creator of the universe, has them all in your mighty hands. It is in the name of Jesus the Christ, our Lord and King, I pray this all. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. You may be seated. We will call our meeting to order. Mrs. Melton, the proclamations.
Yes. The first proclamation this morning is Police Week and Peace Officers Memorial Day. And Councilman Kramer will be reading it on behalf of the mayor.
Thank you. Proclamation: by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Bradenton, I do hereby issue this proclamation honoring Police Week, May 12th through 18th, 2024, and Peace Officers Memorial Day, May 15th, 2024. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as Police Week, and whereas the members of Florida law enforcement agencies play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of our citizens, and whereas it is essential that all Florida citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their unwavering commitment to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas it is appropriate to commemorate police officers, past and present, who have dedicated their service to their communities and demonstrated utmost courage in preserving the rights and security of all citizens. And whereas on May 15th, we honor all peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. Now, therefore, be resolved that Mayor Gene Brown, as mayor of the city of Bradenton, Florida, does hereby proclaim May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day and May 12th through 18th, 2024 as Police Week, and encourage all citizens to participate in activities honoring our police and peace officers. Signed, Mayor Gene Brown.
I know that the chief is with us, as well as several other members of our department.
Everyone please come down, all officers and staff.
Just brought a few people down.
Just a few.
While they're coming down, just a few words. We, the members of the Bradenton Police Department, doesn't matter whether we wear a badge or our civilian members, we all make up an important and critical part of this agency. You'll note the thin blue line that many of us have across our badge. Let us not forget what that thin blue line stands for. It is what separates order from chaos, and it's members of the police department that ensure that separation stays strong. It's a very sad time right now in law enforcement, as you all know. Just last week, a very tragic event, 4 officers lost at one time in the line of duty. That's the most officers killed since the Dallas event several years ago. But let that serve as a reminder that each and every day, these folks go out and they put their lives on the line and they risk everything to ensure the safety of this community. We are the Bradenton Police Department. We are very proud to be members of this community, and we know that we have your support. Not all police agencies can say that, but we know that this community and this council, all of our elected officials and all of our other city members appreciate what we do, and we the same for you. So thank you.
Hang on just a moment. Council members, would you like to make a comment? Ms. Moore?
Sure. Thank you. I just would like to reiterate that I am appreciative of your service. I appreciate the inclusion of not just those that wear the badge, but also the support. Anything that I can do to continue to have you all work as such an amazing, cohesive body, I am happy to be a part of it, a small part. So thank you.
Mrs. Coachman?
Thank you. I'll first off say ditto. And secondly, I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I have the opportunity, fortunately or unfortunately, to see you at work a lot. And I know all that's behind you as well. You know, can't thank you enough. So proud to be of the city of Bradenton and be among you. Okay, I'm not going to cry. Just appreciate you every day.
Ms. Coker?
Yes, just to reiterate and to tell you that how much I love this city, and I know a big part of that is thanks to you keeping us safe. And I have witnessed you do your job, and you seem to really care about the citizens and care about keeping everybody safe, and it's thanks to you.
I don't think that we can put in words how much you mean to this community. So thank you for continuing to show up every day and to serve to the best of your ability. It is truly appreciated. And now we'd like to get a picture. So if we could get everyone up here, and ladies, if we can get over up here, and we'll stand behind.
Come on, you guys on the side. Don't try to hide.
Yeah, come on, we want everyone.
No.
Good-looking ones up front, please.
We need a drone photo for this. I was thinking that.
There's no high heel for me, Captain Pearson.
Do you have a pocket?
I think I do. I don't know. I might lose it.
Okay, you've got to squat down, Stephen French.
Which is awesome.
All right, thank you all.
And you all stay safe out there. Thank you.
We're gonna get there.
We're going to take just a moment to allow those that wish to leave the meeting safe travels out. Mrs. Melton?
Our next proclamation is Salvation Army Week, which I'll read on behalf of the mayor. Whereas the Salvation Army has been serving the people of Manatee County for 100 years physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And whereas the Salvation Army is present wherever need is greatest, especially during times of crisis, where vulnerable citizens are more at risk of becoming homeless, hungry, addicted, or spiritually tired. And whereas the Salvation Army invites the citizens of Bradenton to love beyond and help our organization continue to provide life-changing aid by creating and supporting programs to meet the needs of the community. And whereas it is fitting and proper on Salvation Army Week to recognize the tremendous impact of philanthropy, volunteerism, and community service in the city of Bradenton. And whereas Salvation Army Week is an opportunity to encourage citizens to serve others with their resources and time during difficult periods many of us are experiencing. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jean Brown, as mayor of the city of Bradenton, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 13th through 19th, 2024 as Salvation Army Week in Bradenton, and urge all citizens to join together to give back to the community in any way that is personally meaningful. Signed, Jean Brown, Mayor.
I know we have someone here to accept the proclamation. Please come forward and introduce yourselves.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Richmond, and I, along with my wife Jenny, are the commanding officers for the Salvation Army. With me, I also have Julie Showers and Miss Kelly French. We represent just a small fraction of, well, the employees and volunteers of the Salvation Army here in Manatee County and Bradenton. We've been here, and right here up the street 100 years ago, on June the 23rd of 1923, the Salvation Army, along with about 7 volunteers, came to this beautiful city and started the work of the Salvation Army with one focus, and that was others, to serve those within this community to the best of our ability. Those 100 years have taught us many, many things, and one of the things that they've taught us is that the love and the sense of family that this community has is probably greater than any other city that you will come in contact with in the state of Florida, and dare I say, in many other places that I've been. I'm very happy to be here. I'm getting ready to celebrate 1 year of being in this city and working, and I can tell you, I have fallen in love with the people of this beautiful city. I'm thankful for the work that you've allowed us and you've come and partnered with us over these years to do. I had a challenge coin that we had made up for the 100-year anniversary, and unfortunately this morning I did not bring enough with me because I have been out of town running around for the past couple of days trying to get a tooth fixed, and I stand here this morning with you to say I've got a little bit of pain, but more importantly I have a lot of love in my heart. And I say to you, thank you so much. Thank you to the mayor, to city council, to the people of this community who continue to come alongside us. Countless hours, countless abilities, tools, treasures, and all the other things that they bring. But on the back of that coin, it says this: doing the most good, which has kind of been a moniker of the Salvation Army for the last several years. I didn't like it at first when I first saw it, but I fell in love with it as I started moving forward, because it basically says this: we're doing the most good on the bottom of the coin because of friends like you. Please continue to remember who we are, and more importantly, remember whose we are. We pray for you daily. We thank God for you daily, and we know that as we continue working together in the partnership that we have had these past 100 years, unless the Lord comes back, we'll continue to do the work that He's called us to do. And we're so thankful for this day. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to stand before you. And Kelly, do you have something?
I was going to take a picture.
Oh, you're going to take a picture. Okay. Well, can we ask you to stand up again, and we'll move up? But we'll say
We'll come
again.
down and get a picture with you.
You want to come down, or you want to stand back there?
Oh, we'll come down.
We love you. Come on, we'll go do this. God bless you. And to those in the room today, thank you so much. To our men in blue, being a retired officer myself, I salute you, my friends, and say, please stay safe. And know that we love you and we appreciate all the hard work that you do in this community. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
If you'll wait just a moment, I have some of the council members to say something.
Thank you.
I know that many of us are aware of the work of the Salvation Army and have interacted with them over the years and throughout the year. I know that Ms. Coker asked to say something, so I'll start with Ms. Coker.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've had multiple opportunities to work, especially with Miss French, and always willing to go the extra mile, roll up the sleeves, work alongside, and I feel like you walk the walk and talk the talk. So, thank you.
Councilman Kramer?
Thank you. I think we always think of the Salvation Army, at least through most of my career, was dealings with 14th Street, and a lot of times it was issues that they may have there, not necessarily issues on the periphery, but issues that were happening inside the building. Since the departure of my time with the department, I've come to know that they do a lot more than just handle things at their center. And one is the Camp for Kids. I was able to participate in an event, a fundraiser for that a couple weeks ago. But that basically funds children being able to go to summer camps. And it's really, I think we always think about what they do for adults, but it's what they do for children too.
Ms. Gonzalez, more.
I'll just express my appreciation and note that you bring the compassion to an issue that's really complicated, and you put faces to an issue that's really complicated. And so I just would like to express that your work is not unnoticed and appreciated.
I know also firsthand from the work you do. And you said a word, and it's heart. That's the Salvation Army. And you are the salvation for quite a many people. And I've seen women with children, from our school, actually, where I work, that needed you, and you were there. So, thank you.
What can I say? But the entire council appreciates the work that you do on a daily basis. And we hope that you are able to continue help many more people, unless God calls us all home. Thank you. Ms. Melton?
We do not.
No,
Sorry.
somebody's jumping the gun. I have one more proclamation. City of Bradenton Office of the Mayor proclamation by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Bradenton, I do hereby issue this proclamation honoring Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5 through the 11th, 2024. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, it is the oldest office held among public servants. And whereas they provide the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas they serve as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continue to strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Jean Brown, as mayor of the city of Bradenton, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 5th through the 11th, 2024, as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend to our professional municipal clerk, Tamara Melton. We extend appreciation to Tamara Melton for the vital services she performs and her exemplary dedication to the citizens of Bradenton. And it is signed by the mayor. We're all going to come down there.
Lance, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Tamara.
Mrs. Melton.
Thank you all for that. That was very nice and surprising. We do not have any presentations scheduled for today.
Okay. So we are now at the portion of our meeting known as citizen comment. Citizen comment will be accepted during the citizen comment portion of the meeting on any non-agenda item, future agenda item, or topic of relevance to the city. Comments will be accepted on public hearings at the appropriate time. And if you wish to make a public comment, we will bring you forward. You will state your name and address for the record. I only have one comment card filled out, and that is from Bill Sanders. Please come forward.
Before you leave, congratulations to Salvation Army. And I wish that you'd got the 14 more slots over there for housing for women. Bill Sanders, 2502 Riverside Drive. I'm here today because I have a kind of a follow-up system that reminds me of things that I feel or the citizens feel that are undone or need answers to. And this was a fraud of an electronic transfer, I believe about 2 years ago. And nobody was able to speak about it because it was allegedly under investigation. So I'd like to know where that is. There's certainly been more than enough time to have a final conclusion of that. It was approximately $52,000, so we didn't know how it occurred and who received the money, and did anybody get punished, or is the system still broken? So I would like to have an answer to that, and perhaps the written police report that was allegedly done at that time. So we have a issue sometimes of not commenting on investigations here in the city, and later to find out that, oh, that's been over with for a while. Why are you asking about it now? Because we never knew what the result was to begin with. So that MO is getting kind of rusty. And second item, I heard you say that we had the administration, CRA, and planning all under one guy, which was not appropriate. And of course, I obviously agree with that, because it's like having a president, secretary of state, and attorney general all in one office, all controlled by one person. That's kind of dangerous. So there was a period of time that we wrote out about $840,000 in checks. And we don't know really where, if it came from the CRA or if it came from the city, because the same individual was wearing multiple hats. And so when I was vice chair of the CRA and on the council, we could never find out if the checks were written, what invoices they were to pay. And I didn't personally get involved because I was excluded by Mr. Perry from asking people about it. So I'd like to know what invoices will tie back to these checks of $840,000, and I'd like for you guys to stop the additional $135,000 that you've got budgeted for to start that program again.
Thank you for comments. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. Prior to the consent agenda, prior to us bringing it up, I believe there's a couple of issues that we wanted to discuss completely. And Mr. Perry and Mr. Williams, I understand that you will be talking about the mid-year budget adjustment. I would like to have more information brought forward at that.
Yes, ma'am. First off, under item C, which is the budget adjustments, which are mid-year, I think it's important to understand a little bit about what this lengthy list of budget adjustments are. And by virtue of being called mid-year, they're just that. Within the middle of a fiscal year, we make adjustments to our budget. In the private sector, typically corporations that are publicly held would hold quarterly meetings and look at where they are at a point in time as it relates to their budget and make evaluations and adjustments therein. We basically do the same thing, but we do it at the 6-month period. And sometimes we do it on an individualized basis. But what we're attempting to do is reconcile things that we didn't know with precision originally when we initiated our budget. An example of that is the first item that's on the list, which is what our interest earnings would be. We've been in a fluctuating interest market, and we obviously have reserves that we put into investments. And so it's a plus up of, I believe, $327,000 over and above what we thought we would earn on our money, because we're in a good return. There's a variety of different issues within the budget. That's just one example of unpredictability that becomes a little bit more predictability in the short term on an actualized basis. But then there's projects that come up that have to be funded too. An example of that is the Masco lighting for the Lecom Park that we agreed to do and under the lease are obligated to do. And at the time, we didn't know what the exact cost would be, but since we've done that, we've been able to finalize the cost. There are things that have come up operationally with our water treatment, our wastewater plant, that at the time we did our budget, we did not know that there would be additional costs for programs and equipment, and they have to be dealt with. And so that's really what the mid-year adjustment is about, is taking a variety of these. And when you consider these adjustments, some of them are fairly sizable, but you're talking about a $180 million budget between the consolidated proprietary funds, business activities, and government activities that we do, enterprises, basically. So we try to clean those up. I've had the opportunity during my meetings with each and every council to go over these budget adjustments one by one and ask, are there any in particular that we can discuss? And there was one in particular that Council Moore had asked me to discuss, and Ms. Clayback's here to discuss it, which deals with a lift station that actually is on the east side and I think has come before council before. And I said, that's probably a pretty good idea to bring that one forward and specifically address what we are doing with that lift station, how we're doing it, what the benefit will be. Because we seem to have someone that comes up and sometimes not correctly characterized perhaps, or otherwise put both sides of the story out on that particular lift station. So it might be good to have the person that's in charge of that project address council if that's possible.
Ms. Clayback?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm Kim Clayback with Public Works and Utilities Infrastructure Engineer. The lift station project that Mr. Perry mentioned is on the east side. It's north of Manatee Avenue, and it involves two different lift stations. Lift Station 3, which currently serves Braden River Lakes, Braden Castle, a portion of Braden Castle, not all of it, and that's it. It's on a large parcel that the city already owns off of 2nd Avenue East at the very far east end before you get to the ditch. Lift Station 13 is on Riverside Drive, just east of 24th Street, and is about 5 feet from the seawall. And traditionally and historically, our older lift stations, which Lift Station 13 is, were built by the river back in the 30s. At this point, it was an old septic system that discharged directly to the river that was plugged up in the 50s, but they built the lift station there. It's the lowest point, everything flows there easily. We identified that it was way too close to the river many, many years ago. And several years ago, when resiliency grants became available through DEP, we applied for the grant. And it is to demolish Lift Station 13, take it away completely. We don't need to be that close to the river with raw sewage. And upsize Lift Station 3 to accommodate all of the flow that comes out of Lift Station 13 area. And we will have to redirect sanitary sewer as part of that process. Several years ago, it was estimated to be about a $6 million project. And with the costs rising the way they are, I'm sure when we get to the construction portion of the project, it'll go up a little bit. But we did receive a grant from DEP. Like I said, several years ago, we submitted on a resiliency grant to them, and they are supplying approximately $3 million towards the construction of the project. We currently are in the first phase of that right now with what's called a basis of design review report. It's an engineering report that sizes all of the mechanics that go into the new lift station. And I'm probably getting way in the weeds here, more than you want to know. But we are sizing the lift station, the force main, and working on where we're rerouting all of the sanitary sewer services that are associated with that. The building of the lift station and the demolishing of the lift station are the really, really easy parts of this job. The difficult part is that for every lift station, for every lateral service for sanitary that we change, currently those lines are in people's backyards. We have to move, we're going to be moving them to the street. So we are going to actually be doing some plumbing work on private property. And as we go through this process, all of those residents are going to have to agree to let us build on their property to connect the services. But we're taking them out of the backyards, putting them in the streets so they're accessible. People won't have sanitary problems in their backyard, and we can access them. So we are building a portion of a new collection system as well to direct everything to the new lift station area. Lift Station 3, the parcel that's out there is fairly sizable. We'll be building the whole new lift station and putting that in service prior to demolishing either one of the old lift stations. Construction for the whole project will take about 2 years. Hopefully, everything will be online in 18 months, and we'll spend the last 6 months demolishing and doing some deficiency list items. But we are in the design process now. It'll take us 9 to 12 months to complete design, and then we'll move into the bid for construction. So it has been a problem. As everybody knows, Riverview in that particular area floods tremendously. And when you start flooding the roads and you start flooding a lift station, there are health risks associated with that. And it's been identified as our #1 risk from a lift station perspective in the city, and that's why we applied for the resiliency grant for that area first.
Ms. Clayback, if I could, I think you said Riverview. I think you meant Riverside.
Riverside, thank you.
Because we do have 2 projects going. We have an ongoing project in my ward and Riverview Boulevard.
Yes.
So I understand. Ms. Moore.
Thank you for coming in, and I love it when you get in the weeds, even if I can't stay with you the entire time.
More information.
But I appreciate you taking the time, because for the benefit of the rest of the council, I was reviewing the budget adjustment items, and I recognized that there were, that this included this project. And so, of course, I got very excited and wanted to pull it so that we could express my excitement. And after meeting with Mr. Perry and Mr. Williams, it became clear that maybe that was me jumping the gun a little bit, and it would be better if Ms. Clayback, who obviously has the actual knowledge of what needs to be done from an engineering standpoint and the timing that will take, in case my enthusiasm resulted in citizens thinking that there was going to be, shovels in the ground tomorrow. So just plugging along, and I appreciate the update, though, so that we could really get accurate information out.
Absolutely, and so all of you know, each ward has its challenges. Mrs. Moore ward has the most lift stations in the city. In Ward 4, we have more lift stations there by about 3 times as many as the next ward. So she has a lot of mechanical issues that will be associated with her ward. Mr. Kramer has water main replacement in his ward and paving primarily. So each ward has its challenges. Lift stations happens to be the challenge in Ward 4 from a public works perspective.
Just briefly, I mean, we're talking about aged infrastructure, and interesting that back in the day, you could discharge septic right into the river. 1970s, the Clean Water Act, and thereafter prohibited that across the country. And now, 50 years after that, we're paying the piper and building projects to eliminate those sins of the past, quite frankly. The laws, the environment, the building codes were a lot different back then. You're talking about virtually almost 100 years ago, probably. And it's a very expensive and tedious and legally challenging environment to put these kinds of projects together, where you're going into people's backyards and you're doing other things. My hat goes off, and we're trying to do a lot better job with long-range planning.
And public outreach.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Perry, is there anything else you would like to add?
I don't believe so. Not on the consent agenda. Just wanted to cover item 3. I'm sorry, C.
Okay. Well, we're at the consent agenda, and Chair will entertain a motion.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Kramer, a second by Councilwoman Coker. Any further discussion? We'll start the vote in Ward 1.
Yes.
Ward 2 votes yes. Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4, and Ward 5.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Milton?
Item 7A is the first reading for ordinance 4039, an ordinance of the City of Bradenton, Florida, providing for an amendment to the City of Bradenton Land Use Atlas, changing zoning from UV Urban Village to R4 Mobile Home for approximately 9.6 acres of land, generally located east of 16th Street West, south of 21st Avenue West, north of 26th Avenue West, west of 14th Street West, and more particularly described herein, providing for findings of fact, providing for applicability, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And the second reading and public hearing for ordinance 4039 is scheduled for May 22nd.
All righty, that was the first reading. We will move on.
We have a first reading for ordinance 4034, an ordinance of the City of Bradenton, Florida, amending Part 1, Charter and Related Laws, Subpart B, Related Laws, Article 4, Police Officers Retirement System of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bradenton, Florida, amending Section 6, Benefit Amount and Eligibility, amending Section 8, Disability, providing for severability of provisions, providing for codification, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. And the second reading and public hearing for ordinance 4034 is scheduled also for May 22nd.
Thank you. Moving on.
Item 7C is the first reading for ordinance 4043, an ordinance of the City of Bradenton, Florida relating to enforcement of school zone speed limits, creating a new section 50-82, authorizing the placement and installation of speed detection systems on roadways maintained as school zones, providing for codification, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And the second reading and public hearing for ordinance 4043 is also scheduled for May 22nd.
Thank you. Moving right on.
Item 7D is the first reading of ordinance 4045, an ordinance of the City of Bradenton establishing a local provider participation fund, authorizing imposition of annual non-ad valorem special assessments to be levied, collected, and enforced against real property owned or leased by private, for-profit, and not-for-profit hospitals to fund the non-federal share of Medicaid and Medicaid-managed care payments benefiting hospitals, providing health care services to Medicaid, indigent, and uninsured members of the City of Bradenton community, specifying the procedure for adopting the annual non-ad valorem special assessments to be deposited into the local provider participation fund, specifying authorized uses for the fund proceeds, and providing an effective date. And the second reading and public hearing for ordinance 4045 is also scheduled for May 22nd.
It looks like we're going to be busy on May 22nd. I also understand that we will have a presentation on ordinance 4045 at the second reading and public hearing.
We do, and Madam Vice Mayor, if I could say, we have special counsel engaged on that, Special Assessment Council, and so they will be here at that May 22nd meeting to answer questions, but if any of you would like to have a one-on-one in advance, we can certainly set that up as well.
Thank you, Mr. Rudisil. Moving on.
We do have an item under new business that was emailed to you all yesterday, and I believe Mr. Perry or Mr. Williams will be speaking on it.
Mayor, Mr. Williams will basically give a short presentation, and there's a request for action on this item. It's a reimbursement agreement for design and construction of wireless modifications to our tanks with some of our carriers that are on there, telecom carriers, but Mr. Williams can give you the details.
Thank you. Lance Williams, Chief Operating Officer for the city. Good morning. Yeah, we work tirelessly, and when I say we, I mean it's Corey Fortin and Marissa Powers. I'm going to first give them kudos because it wasn't easy wrangling in 3 telecom communication companies to agree to what we were trying to do to get the reimbursement for the improvements that they wanted to the water tower during our maintenance process. So the reason it's being presented today is just that. The timing with those 3 companies, we were able to get them together, get them to agree with even the smallest amount of language. Vetted it, obviously, with our attorney, with Marissa and Scott, and then bring it before council to get approval. So our reason to present it today is we have a deposit date of May 17th. So we had to get it approved today because our next council meeting isn't until after that date. So So the attached reimbursement agreement is for design and construction of the wireless modifications to our elevated water tower number 3. It's between the city and the 3 carriers that have the lease agreements with the 3 carriers that have the lease agreements with the telecommunication equipment on the tower, which is Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. The carriers have requested a balcony and handrail improvements that are occurring at the same time that the city is doing the required maintenance and repairs to the tank. The carriers have agreed to be responsible for reimbursing the city the costs associated with mapping and structural analysis, engineering design, and construction and installation of the improvements, as well as for staff time required to implement the construction and installation. So the total cost of the agreement is $121,281, and that'll be divided between the 3 carriers to be reimbursed to the city. So the motion that I have today is a motion to approve the reimbursement agreements for design and construction of wireless modifications to the city of Bradenton's elevated water tower number 3 as presented. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Ms. Coker?
I'll make the motion.
Oh, I thought you had a question. I'm sorry. No. Okay, Ms. Coker?
I'll make a motion to approve the reimbursement agreements for design and construction of wireless modifications to the city of Bradenton's elevated water tank number 3 as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Coker, a second by Councilwoman Gonzalez Moore. Any further discussion? We will begin the vote in Ward 3,
Yes.
Ward 4,
Yes.
Ward 5,
Yes.
Ward 1.
Yes.
Ward 2 votes yes. It carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing further from the administration.
Well, and just let me say, anytime that you can get Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile even on the same phone call, mighty job, ladies. Thank you so much.
Our Blaylock Walters attorney had a lot to do with it, Marissa, who's here as well, and it was not easy. I would walk by Mr. Williams' office and hear some of the conversations and see some of the frustration. Your point is well taken. I was glad I had very little to do with it.
All right, I don't believe we have any unfinished business,
No,
Ms.
ma'am.
Clerk? Okay. All right, council reports. So we will start the council reports in Ward 4.
Okay. I actually was trying, I don't really have a whole lot to report. I have been, I'll just again express appreciation for everyone kind of placating me and letting me or ask Ms. Clayback to give an update on those infrastructure improvements. That's been my focus. I think you guys already know because I've been talking about it quite a bit, but improving the infrastructure in that whole area is obviously been a focus of mine, and obtaining the funding is a complicated, process that staff walks through daily, and I just appreciate their efforts in that regard in trying to get funding and get things moving along as the fastest you can, knowing that they're all interrelated, they're all going to involve, construction and citizen, affect citizens in their daily lives near their homes. But I am excited to, again, have their efforts and see things moving forward. I leave tomorrow to go to the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council Resiliency Summit. I will bring back any information, of course, on any kind of new technologies or funding opportunities. And I believe that's it. I don't think I have anything else to report. I'm sure I'll remember as soon as it's not my turn anymore.
Well, just let me know. Not like I've ever missed something in my report, so.
Okay, kind of the same things for Ward 5. Some of the infrastructure things, the needs, as Ms. Klebeck said, each ward has its needs. But I have been getting positive feedback from residents about the sidewalks that are being placed and on the east side, and they're real happy about that. Makes them feel like they can see something happening to better the area. We'll just continue to make all attempts to increase the quality of life in those areas that need it the most. I don't have a whole lot to say as well. Ward 5 is alive, as always. And, oh, happy Mother's Day to all the people that take on that role.
Absolutely. Ward 1.
Yes. First, I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, the DeSoto Historical Society. The parade was, I believe, a huge success. It just celebrates what I love about Bradenton. All that they, I know it's a lot of work behind the scenes, and I want to thank them for that. It's a great, it just makes me, it fills my bucket about our city and how much I love it here. And I also, I mean, we definitely have to say thank you to law enforcement and to our Public Works Department, the Fire Department. Unless you're involved with it, you have no idea the work that goes on. And I think it was a huge success. And I think I just wanted to give everybody a shout out for that. I also, since our last meeting, I left that and went to the ribbon cutting for the new Kiwanis Playground out at Tom Bennett Park. And it's wonderful. If you haven't had an opportunity to go, it's just, I love that our city, now we have Lewis Park that was done with the Rotary. And we now have 2 wonderful playgrounds here where all children can play without barriers. And I feel like I've heard from most that we have a really firm commitment and a resolve to do more in the community, and it just makes me even prouder. And lastly, Faith and Family Night, Friday night, at the Marauders game. The gates will open at 5:30. They're gonna have games for the kids. I've heard a dunk booth. I'm not in that, thankfully. But the game starts at 6:30. The tickets are $15, and you get a Marauders cap and a Pepsi drink ticket voucher. So it's a great way to spend Friday night safe and not too much money. And it's a lot of fun. If you haven't made it to a Marauders game, this is a great family night. So I hope to see y'all there.
Thank you.
You'll see me there.
Oh, good.
Councilman Kramer.
Thank you, ma'am. So I got an email the other day from one of our, I don't think he's even a constituent, but his facilities in the city. And he mentioned something that a project had been going on for a while, and it finally got done. And he thanked me for getting it done. I didn't get it done. I passed information on to our city staff, who are the ones who get these things done. People call us all the time and say, I want things done. I'm calling City Hall to complain. All that does is let our staff know, hey, these people have an issue. If you could please address it or communicate with them. A lot of times all they want is just communication. But I'm not the one out there who's grading a driveway. That's city staff, city workers who are out there, hopefully not in too much heat doing it. But I want to thank all of them. I think we do that all the time, but I want to thank them all again for what they do, especially with Police Week coming up next week. I also want to wish my mom, Karen Kramer, a happy birthday. Last Wednesday was her birthday, 80th birthday. And we were able to have a nice family event in Maryland for her. So I love you, Mom.
Vice Mayor, yeah.
You do it to me every time.
That's the plan.
I did remember one little thing.
Please go right ahead.
Make her cry.
Yes, I'm not going to make her cry, but I am going to, you just reminded me of something else that I wanted to mention since the last meeting. Speaking of staff, one of the things that we did do was tour the River Isles neighborhood with their city government liaison to do kind of a spot check on problematic sidewalks and whatnot. They're part of the plan that we have for the citywide sidewalk replacement project. So we were just looking at areas that might be potential, we might need to put a Band-Aid on for the time being. But Mr. Williams and Mr. Cho and Haran, I believe is his last name, Mr. Haran, who is in charge of sidewalks in Public Works, all came out, spend at least an hour. Poor Mr. Williams was on a conference call half of the time, trying to juggle the time. So I just use that as an illustration of the dedication that we have with city staff in helping us be responsive to citizens and addressing their concerns. So that was another thing that took place in the past couple of weeks that I just wanted to highlight, and you thanking staff reminded me of that.
Mr. Perry, I see you. I'm going to do my council report, and then we're going to go to department heads, if that's...
That'd be perfect.
Thank you. I, too, enjoyed the DeSoto Parade. It's one of the things that I think brings this community together, and I truly appreciate all of the planning and the details and the hard work that the DeSoto celebration goes through to provide such a wonderful event for everyone in the community. And I'm really sorry that the DeSoto float broke down. So I'm sure that won't happen again. The weather was absolutely wonderful. I've heard from many in the community that actually initially were concerned about changing the parade route, but felt that it went very well. And I know that they had plenty of room to stage it prior to the beginning of the parade, which had always been a concern with previous years. So I think that I have not spoken with anyone from DeSoto. I know that they will do an after-event evaluation, but I think we may see that continue, that we start going out on the east side of town and heading to the west side of town. And I also want to say that I know that there are individuals that were, they had their spot at the parade route. You know, they knew where they were going to go. But those of us that were in the parade, there was several areas along the parade route that did not have anyone. So if you found that your regular spot, you ended up with about 20 people deep, you might want to look around next year and come a little further east, because there were several areas on my side of Manatee Avenue in Ward 2 that had a lot of viewing opportunities that were not 20 people deep. So I just throw that out there. I also want to express my condolences to the family of Colonel Maynard. He was known in the community, the scouting community, as Red Dog, Colonel Red Dog Maynard. I'd like to share the words that were shared by Darlene Thorpe Horner that says, "It is with great sorrow that we inform you of the passing of the great scouter, Red Dog Maynard, passed away the morning of April 27th. The United States lost a sworn patriot. The United States Army lost an unhesitating member of the Brotherhood of Honor. Manatee County lost a dedicated citizen, and the Boy Scouts of America lost an impassioned scouter." He did a lot for this community, and I want everyone to remember him, please. Also, I think Ms. Coachman said it best. Happy Mother's Day to all who fill that role and do that job, because there are a lot of single dads out there that are mothering. There's a lot of aunties and grandmas that are mothering. There are a lot of just caring people that fulfill the role of mothers to many children, and we want to salute them all. And then just to finish up, I probably should have said something at the beginning of the meeting that Mayor Brown was excused from the meeting, but we all want to wish him and his lovely bride Gina happy 35th anniversary. And the mayor had set up to be able to take her on a trip, and they were going to be leaving this afternoon, but apparently Delta had other plans and changed the flight. And there was only one leaving to go where they're going. So we just want to wish them a very wonderful 35th anniversary and thank them for everything that they do for this community. I don't know if you all know how much Gina Brown does, because pretty much anything that Mayor Brown is doing, Gina is right there, and she's usually helping right along, whether it is pulling weeds and picking up yard waste or helping pass out things to children or participating in the community. So we want to wish them both a wonderful 35th wedding anniversary. And now we will go to department head reports. Mr. Perry.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. If Mr. Williams and Colonel Lee and Ms. Calandria could come up, I'd appreciate it. So I want to take this opportunity to formally introduce a few folks to council. As you remember, last December, Mr. McClellan left after in retirement from the city, 7 years as the Director of Public Works, and another, I think, 6 with the city. We did a national search. We had a lot of good candidates, and we wanted to make sure we got the right candidate. Mr. Williams, myself, and several others in the senior executive management team did numerous interviews. Zoom interviews, personal interviews, flying people in, spent some money, spent some time. We wanted to make sure we got the right people. I don't think in my 35-year career I felt better, quite frankly, about the diligence that was exerted to get the candidates that have the right skill set, the right background, that really want to be here for the right reasons than what we were able to basically put together. So you've had the opportunity to meet Ms. Calandria, who is serving in the role of Deputy Director of our Public Works Utilities Department. As it relates to the head of that department, retired Colonel Irvin Lee served this country honorably in the U.S. Air Force, retiring from the Air Force. He served the area honorably by a long tenure with the city of Tampa as their Public Works Director, as well as MacDill Air Force Base, and most recently, before returning from Space Command, Operations Center out in Colorado Springs. We are at a precipice. I think really that term is we're going to go one way or the other, a precipice. And we have to go into the future. We have to deal with age infrastructure. We have to improve our professionalism, level of services, our policies and procedures, our technology, and what Jen Winter, who was the head of the Matrix reporting, said, implement innovation. Technology sometimes, other things, systems. We are not my grandmother's, your grandmother's Bradenton anymore. It's a complex department challenge, and I think we have the two people that can help us, along with a whole other group of people that have been doing the hard work over there and are passionate to really help us at this time. It's a coincidence that we've got the final draft report from Matrix Consulting. You made an investment of about $95,000, I believe, in a top to bottom review. And a lot of what anecdotally people have been telling us within the department, a lot of things that Mr. Williams and myself have seen. And I appreciate Mr. Williams taking the leadership, what he's done to fill that gap over there and try to just keep the boat afloat with positive direction, navigating it in the right direction, is true executive leadership and management. I came back from the DOT meeting over at Palmetto at 7:15 the other night. Some of us were there. I saw Councilman Kramer coming back to the police department. And who did almost hit me coming out the door? Lance Williams. He's here every night late. He's here every morning. And we're on the phone constantly. Every hand on deck it is aware of what we need to do, of how tough it's going to be, and how much effort we're going to have to put towards it. But again, to close it out, I can't recommend these folks highly enough, and I'm going to ask Colonel Lee to say a couple words, because I think they really want to be here. And that makes the world of difference. This isn't just a job, it's a career move that they want to take on the challenge. They want to successfully accomplish the objective and get the ball over the goal line and really take us to the next level. So with that, Colonel Lee, I hope I didn't overdo it, but I kind of feel a little emotional.
It's indeed an honor and a privilege to embark on this journey with you all. The ability to look into a situation and look to the future with not only the backing but the encouragement that I have is just amazing. Lance, my hat's off to you. I know you, both of you all, did a yeoman's effort to keep things going. And I was telling somebody the other day, I have to be careful when I go through Pinellas County, thinking that we stole brandy away from them, to make sure that there won't be any repercussions there. But I really am. This is I consider this an amazing opportunity, and I look forward to the hard work that we have ahead to be able to deliver to the citizens of Bradenton the kind of service and the kind of support to move the city forward. So thank you.
And I just point out, Colonel started on May 20th, which was, of course, was a Monday. On May, I think it was 18th, him and his lovely wife were down here at the DeSoto parade, caught up, and we had to kind of go fetch him at the end. Right? Yeah. And I think he was here late that evening too, is what I heard. Yeah, yeah. But you know, we're lucky to have him. We're really happy about him, and I hope you guys get to know him and Brandy and spend a little bit more time over at our operation over there. The one thing that I think has helped Lance and I is that, you know, when you take on that kind of interim role, you got to jump in with both feet. So him and I have been at the bottom of basically drained out, you know, 1,000,000-gallon water treatment, what I call basins and things like that. And we've got to know a lot of the folks over there in the operation a lot better than I think anybody would have in our positions. You know, sometimes you stay upstairs and you got to pull the levers and make decisions and stuff like that. This has given us the opportunity to go in there and dig some ditches. So that's, you know, always a good thing too. Yep.
Mr. Kramer, would you like to?
No, welcome aboard. We really appreciate the search efforts, but also I think we all were, I speak for everybody, we were very impressed in the interview process, and to meet you and talk with you was very impressive. So we're just happy you're here and looking forward to your stewardship of the ship now.
Yes, I just want to say, your pedigree, obviously, you've got a real commitment to service, and I think you both are going to be a wonderful addition and will be like family, and I'm very much looking forward to digging in and working to the challenges that lie ahead. So thank you.
Yes, welcome aboard, and it sounds like you have the heart to take on this journey, because it's not going to be smooth sailing. Just so you know, this council, this city staff, all departments, from top, bottom, side to side, the goal is to convince the public that we care and that we're here to serve them and do the best we can to improve the quality of their life. And that's really the mindset of every employee. So you're not going to be alone with that heart to serve. We just keep on letting our citizens know that we're here for them, and we're very appreciative to have you here with us.
I'm excited. I liken the loss of our previous Public Works Director, Mr. McCullen, to kind of, you know, sometimes painful circumstances result in opportunities. And so I think that, to your point, Mr. Perry, that you and Mr. Williams had to get in there in the thick of it is most certainly, I think, going to be a benefit in your roles going forward. And I appreciate the diligence in finding replacements for Mr. McCullen. I know that was a tough job, and I think that I'm really super hopeful that the efforts will have paid off as we kind of usher the city into this new era. I had the pleasure of having Miss Colanandra, I'm going to butcher that every single time, Brandy and her husband assist us in the parade, and so that was a ton of fun. And I'm just really looking forward to getting to know both of you better and hopefully serving alongside of you as the best I can.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you both, and thank you for bringing your families to Bradenton. Serving a community can be very difficult at times because there's a lot of differing expectations. However, having met with both of you, Colonel Lee and Miss, I'm going to say it wrong, Calandria, yes. I know.
Oh.
Calandrea? Okay. I will, everybody together now. Calandrea. I think you're up to the challenge. And I think you both have a strong sense of not only self-worth, but a strong sense of humor. And I think you need both when you serve the public. But I thank you for being willing to take on this task. And I look forward to working together with you. And Mr. Williams. We all recognize how difficult the hours have been and how hard you have been working to help keep the ship upright. And it has not gone unnoticed, and it is very much appreciated.
And just to close it out, we have a lot of other folks in the city in our departments that are providing great leadership and management. And so it's not just Public Works, it's all of our divisions and our public safety entities and planning and everything in between, our CRA as well. I'm just really proud of everybody being able to work together at such a high level. I really applaud it, and I would give it a very high grade and hope to give it even a higher grade. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you all. All right, any other department heads wishing to come forward at this time? Anything you want to bring up? Speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our meeting. I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank the citizens that were here. Again, you know, we did proclaim it National Police Week, but I think everyone that knows the job that they do appreciates them every day. So, with that being said, anything else for the good of the order? We stand adjourned.